Hey y'all, welcome back to Muddy Paws Disc Golf. This time around, we played Codorus Township Park. You might have seen in our last video, we played Codorus State Park. And this is kind of the sister course to that. It is not on the same property, but it's very close by. This first hole, it's got OB close on the left side, but besides that, it's a pretty straightforward downhill hole, 240 feet. Baby. Only thing is if you do catch that hillside and roll, you could be in trouble. Like Matt here, he just tried to throw a forehand, really easy to stay up on the hill, and it actually got on an edge and rolled. It was real close, but we decided it was in bounds. I'm going to go with a CT Challenger here, and it actually ended up a little long, but not a bad shot, in bounds. Matt will just throw a nice little upshot into that hillside. So Matt will start out on a par, and great start to the round for the putting. So we'll all par out here to begin. Hole 2, par 3, 315 feet. Very similar in concept here. It's, a little longer and it's not downhill, but you've still got that hillside and the OB left that, makes it a little more interesting than just a dead straight hole. So Dad here with a rock. It looks like it's fighting, but it just stayed in, just barely, very close. When we went up and looked by the flag, it was there. Matt here with a DX rock. He's going to flip it over. Roll out a little, but not a bad shot. And I think we all went with DX rocks here. I also threw a DX rock. Just tossed it up really high on the hillside. Played it super safe. That's fine with me. Dad'll lay it up. Matt will lay it up as well. I have another mid-sized putt and just fell straight down. It's alright. Can't make them all, as Matt demonstrates. Rough start there. So he'll tap us all in. Me and Dad are going to take pars here, and Matt will take a 4. Hole 3 is another par 3. Once again, similar. This one is pretty similar to the last one, but they keep the variety by putting the hole up on the hill this time. There is a little bit of OB up, way up on the hill. There's a path, and then along, if you were to go over that fence, that would also be OB. Dad gets the roll out there, but not too bad. Once again, I went really high up on the hill and ended up getting that roll. Matt, once again, flipping over that DX rock. That's pretty much exactly what you want to do. Great shot. So, I'll lay it up there. Dad will sink it. Good shot from him. Matt with a little runner. And he'll land it. Tap it in. And Matt will also tap it in. Hole 4. This one's a little more interesting. We've got, again, OB left. But you also got these trees that come into play. This one's definitely a little more uphill. And we finish right at the basket. So Dad here, Avenger SS, and it just didn't get the flip that it needed. Really rough there. But, what can you do? And mine here, I threw a Hades. This one somehow stayed in bounds. I thought for sure it was out. But when I went up there, it was actually inside the flags, and it didn't end up going past the fence, which was the one no-no. Matt here, he saw what we did, took it very safe. Dad from his OB lie, he'll lay it up, leave himself somewhat of a putt. And I just tried to run through that crap. That was a legal shot if you slow it down. I know my runners look a little weird, but worked out. Dad'll tap in, take a bogey. Matt'll tap and take his par, and I'll tap and take my par. Hole 5. We're headed up the hill. This is definitely one that you can birdie, but it can also go very bad. It's just a super tight alleyway. And as you can see here, I threw my rock. Got a little freaky at the end there to work out, but Matt there, his fades right a little. That rock once again. Dad's going to size up to a driver here over stable. And he'll stay clean, but it was a little weird. Dad'll lay up. I'm going to take my first bird of the round there. Very happy with that one. Matt will tap in. Hole 6, par 3, 300 feet. Downhill, tight alley shot. This is a shot that is very common on this course. You'll see it a lot. Yeah, it's kind of everywhere on this one. Snakes back and forth. You know, I kind of figured out that this one was very good for the rock. This whole little section of the course that's just tight alleyways. A rock or a buzz if you prefer. Whatever your mid-range of choice is, it's kind of perfect for a nice little soft shot down the middle. Dad, though, clips a tree. Kicks weird. But nice little save there from way out. Matt with a thumber. Pretty solid. I had a pretty obstructed putt here. Clipped the tree, so, you know, we'll take our 3 there. Dad'll take his 3 after a really nice par save with that upshot. I'll take my par, and we'll tap Matt's in as well. Hole 7 is a par 3. Depending on what pins you're playing to, it's 318 or 418. We decided to play the shorter layout, just because it seemed like there weren't that many blue holes. So this one, the gap is so tight, and it's really gnarly off to the right and left. It doesn't look that bad from this angle. I get that it looks really solid, but when you got there, it's pretty rough. And Matt there, he's going to be off a little bit. There, it's clean, but if you get up a little more, it's real nasty. Dad, bad release, and right into those first bushes. And Matt here, seemingly having a little bit of a nightmare hole, as we like to call it. Not what you want to see. Dad also having a tough time. That is not the spot you want to be in. And Matt again bouncing. Dad here will just thumb out as far as he can, and a pretty solid attempt from where he's at. Matt's going to be forced into the same route. Pretty much the same result. I'll lay mine up. You know, this one was just all about getting clean, and trust me, I'm the worst person for that most of the time. So this one just happened to work out in my favor. So all taps in here. I took a par, and they both took some pretty bad bogeys there, but it's all good. Here we basically go across this little double path thing. It plays as an island. Or not an island, I'm sorry. If you don't land in this little triangle or past it, you are OB. So that was very, very close to being bad. I did not throw the correct disc here. With no wind, it would have been a mid-range, but I wasn't thinking. I should have sized up like these guys did to the driver, because they both had pretty solid shots. Dad there, parking it. Beautiful shot. And you can see all the way where I'm at. Great filming, Matt. Gave that one a run, and the wind, as you can see, just giving it an absolute knock to the sky. But made the putt. That was a freaky one for me. That one scared me, but it worked. Hole 9, par 3, 240. This is the island hole. Yeah, so you have to land in this little triangle. If you're anything outside of it, it is OB. So it's very touchy. It's a putter. Dad there probably playing the best shot. That was super smart. And Matt here, I believe that's a genius, which I thought was too much disc. And it was. He bounces out. And I went with a Luna here. Like, I thought this was going to be beautiful. And nope. Skipped along. So Dad will just lay it up. Mine rolled out pretty early, so I was able to just get the par. That might have been a little off. Sorry about that, but that's visually what it looked like to us. Hole 10, par 3, 390 feet. This one is really tough. This is definitely one of the tougher holes to me. Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's OB if you hit this hill at all. So you really got to get it up top, and then even then you have a death putt if you want to try and go for 2 or even 3. Dad there gets a nice stick. Matt, who obviously has the most power out of the 3 of us, decides just to throw it long on a 390-foot almost flat hole. And, mine, I think, wasn't going to get the distance regardless, so I got so lucky that it decided to land in that area where it got wider. That was not a good shot. It just happened to get lucky. Dad'll lay up. I'm pretty much laying up. I'm happy with the luck I already got on this hole. Matt here kind of giving it a little bid. But low, it was pretty obstructed. He'll tap in for a 3. Dad'll take his 3. And I'll also take my 3. Hole 11 is a par 3, 231 feet. Kind of a subtle S-line. I mean, there is a little bit of an inside gap you could take, but it's really closed off. You'd have to get super lucky. So Dad here going with basically what I was talking about. Great shot. Matt with a beauty. Might be long, but he hit that line perfectly. And I'm going with a Luna again. I tried to play a little straight, and I went way long, but didn't hit anything early, so can't be mad at it. That'll lay it up. I'll throw a little forehand, land it right there, and as you can see, Matt actually did go long with me. I didn't realize that. So not bad. He'll tap all 3 in. Pars all around. Hole 12. Another uphill one, real short, but gettable for sure. This is one where you can make up a stroke if you had some bad shots earlier. Dad here with a really nice one. Matt getting a little low. It'll be a par though. And I'll throw a challenger again, and little short, but dead up the center, which is really all I'm worried about most of the time. Matt will get a little bit of a bounce back. Very happy with that putt, one of my better ones of the round. Dad sneaks it in there. Oh, and Matt takes a rough one there. Hole 13, par 3, 231 to the basket that we are playing to. No real OB, just a potential for it to fade right if you're going to go forehand here. Obviously, none of us did, but if you have that play, I'd definitely say that's one that would open up some angles here. Again with the CT Challenger, just nice and reliable, pretty flippy. So when you're not throwing it hard, it works out. Matt clips a little bit of an early tree there.
Why would you go with that?
That's not what you want. That's not ideal. Once again, just the rocks getting in his way. He'll lay up. And I got another bird here. Yeah, I was really happy with that shot. It was pretty blind off the tee, but I'll take it. Hole 14 is a par 3. Downhill, pretty similar to some earlier holes. Yeah, I mean, it's just a tight downhill alley. This one's probably the tightest of all of them so far, though. Take a wild guess what I threw off there. Yep, CT Challenger. Dad with the DX Rock. Gets a kick, but pretty solid. He's down where he needs to be. Matt, he's been flipping that thing all day. Usually it's helpful. There it was not. Luckily, though, he landed in a pretty open spot. A little toss up there. I gave that one a run, but, I wanted to make sure it was safe. So some pars here, and a bogey for Matt, I believe. 15, par 3, 264. I'm sorry, that might have been a par for Matt. My bad. Yeah, 264. They just keep getting skinnier. It's essentially the same shot. I mean, they're very similar. And that was the first really bad tree kick I got all day, which I'm very grateful for. I mean, the trees were actually pretty kind to me this time around. Matt kicks left too. Me and him. He's a little shorter though. Once again, man, these early trees are killing him. I do that all the time in tournaments. and I don't think I could have gotten any closer to the one right in front of me. Obviously, you know, I wanted to put a little more space there, but it just happened to come out of my hand a little wrong, but got lucky. Once again, I've said I've gotten lucky about 100 times in this video, but that's what's keeping me holding on right now. Matt's gonna come up a little short there. And I will also come up a little short. As you can see, I was getting ready to do a second putt, but we don't count those. Hole 16 is a par 4. You kind of get the best of both worlds here with this one. The beginning is very wooded, so your first shot should really just be trying to get out. But if you're like me and you fall into the trap, you can try and throw it too far if you want. But I think Dad here did a great job of playing the hole how it's intended. He throws a rock right out to the center, which is a beautiful first shot. I have a destroyer in my hand, which is an awful choice. Got through a locals line gap, but, you know, pretty obstructed. Matt also went with the driver and landed a little behind me. But his power kind of saved him here, and he was able to get it way out there. I threw a mid-range here. As you can see, it really decided to float. And Dad there with a beautiful mid-range shot. Trying to get it pretty close and a little short, but not awful. Matt will lay up. And me from way down the hill. Nice little tap in. Makes it easy. Dad for bird is going to come up a little short. Matt once again just having a rough day. I'll tap for par there. Kind of missed the shots there, sorry. Hole 17 is a par 4. So I think this one we kind of played wrong, but there was no marking for the island. So we decided to play it not as an island. Obviously, this one is marked as an island. But if we had no flags to go off of at all, except OB long, there was no way for us really to play it that way. So I hope you guys can understand where we're coming from with that. And thank God we did, because I threw an awful shot. Brutal. And I would have been going from the drop zone there. If any locals know how we're supposed to play this, or how you guys play it on a regular basis, please let me know in the comments. I'd really appreciate it, so we can not make that mistake again. And Tad there, obviously the putting's getting frustrating. And I'll also tap. So hole 18 is a par 3, 339. This one actually looks like it would be quite fun from the long pads. It's like an 800-foot downhill bomb hole. But, you know, we had to stick with continuity and play the shorts. But I honestly suggest the long, just for this hole, even if you don't want to play it for the rest of them. It looks like a blast. Matt, mid-range, easy 3. Dad, DX rock. You know, pretty simple. And, oh boy. Took the rock for a ride. Yeah, obviously not exactly what I was hoping for. You know, you can only get so much sometimes during a round, so I'll lay it up, get out with a bogey after a bad out-of-bounds shot. Matt will lay up for his par, and here we go. Tapped out. And that's the round. So, in conclusion, I enjoyed this course. I think there are some things that could be changed. I think a lot of the shots feel extremely similar, which is not necessarily a bad thing all of the time, but it definitely just felt like there were kind of 2 or 3 different types of shots, and they repeated those over and over. But besides that, the course was mowed out. It was beautiful. It was really nice to look at. It was pretty fun to play too. Like, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it, but there were definitely a few things I would change here and there. But let me know how you guys feel about this course if you've played it, how it looked from our video. If you have any suggestions, make sure to let us know. This has been Muddy Paws Disc Golf. Thank you, and we'll see you later.